in between the rains. Gotta get you walking in when it's nice and cool. It's supposed to be pretty damn hot later on today. Let's try to be somewhat quiet here, see? There's a slat missing. Dog. Another slat. Oh no, we're all just another brick in the wall. This somewhat secluded area is where that lady was, you know, and it's a nice place to walk your animal. You got a little bit bigger area for them to do their business. I mean, but if you get weirdos up on you, and you got a little dog with you, here, just throw away stuff. Alright, so. Laser Fiber Company or something like that. Let me look at this in here. It's perfectly usable construction stuff, but it's, you know, been sitting in the water and everything else. Yeah, my thought is sharpness, cutting edge, and everything. Uh-oh, it's plastic. It's plastic. If you show the label, YouTube will flag it a lot of times, or advertisers that compete with it will flag it. I'm not trying to show off anybody's label. I'm trying to get this guy to stand up. Alright. I'll do it here, goddammit. Stand up, what I tell you, stand up. It's harder to slice an empty water bottle than it is a full one, because the weight helps hold it and allows it to slice it. I'm no expert. I'm just playing around. We are going to see what happens. Go sailing. I hit it hard, but I don't think I cut it. I might have bruised it, but I don't think I cut it at all. Maybe, yeah. Right there. Dug into the paper and everything. Now you fill that up with water, and it'll have more resistance, and I'll probably be able to partially slice it or fully slice it. But that hasn't. Let me do my civic duty here, because I'm a Civic. You drive a Civic? I thought you drove a Jeep. Right, shut up, you. The difference between a sharp knife and a dull knife. You know, what's the difference? Well, it all comes down to the edge. And the sharper the edge you have, the more closely it resembles a razor blade. And this is kind of like the inexpensive way of always having a sharp edge, because you don't have to learn how to sharpen. In this format, you know, you buy these in bulk, you can get them for about $1 or so. And you can go on up. All different kind of companies nowadays are starting to make utility knives, not just this, but you know, the kind of trapezoidal triangle type of shaped blade. Boker makes an auto that has one. Civivi has a box cutter, you know, knife that flips out. And it's nothing new. Milwaukee tools have had these for a while, and box cutters have been around for a while. It's just that they're trying to improve the looks or durability of it. And you've got two choices if you want a sharp blade. And there's a difference between sharp, like razor blade sharp, and sharp working sharp. Like it still does the job, like it still cuts what you need to cut. The old school method was multiple blades. That way the blade doesn't have to be a super steel. It stays sharp as long as you need it to, and if you still need another sharp one, you got it. You can get carried away with that, too many blades, not enough cutting. But so yeah, that's one way, is a razor blade. But why do you have to replace the blade so often? Because it dulls out. And rather than sharpen it or anything like that, you just replace it. Well, it's geometry behind the edge thickness and stuff. A razor blade is really, really thin, and that means it's brittle. And it's going to roll, and what do you get when you roll or chip? Dull. And the difference between dull and a sharp blade is a world of difference. You wouldn't recognize the two if you were blindfolded and tried to cut something with the same knife with a dull edge and the same knife with a sharp edge. The rest of it's ergonomics and blade steel and all that other stuff, but it really comes down to a sharp edge. How long does it stay sharp for what you want to do? And if you don't want to learn how to sharpen, or you like the convenience of it, it's convenient. You grab it, and you know it's always going to be razor sharp. Why? Because it's a razor blade. But if you're not shaving your face or cutting hair every day and stuff like that, or something you would need a really sharp edge for, razor blades are usually not the best answer. Something a little more modified, not quite as sharp, still sharp, still cut whatever you need to cut, but the edge lasts longer. You don't have to replace it. And if you're doing that route, you probably know how to maintain or touch up an edge so that you never run into it being completely dull. You look at any knife, and it's not going to be 100% sharp all along the complete entire length of the edge. There's going to be parts that, have been used, wear out, get dull. Look at those clouds, see? Those clouds say you have to look at which way the wind's blowing. And this is kind of weird looking cloud. But weather can change here in Texas in less than a minute. It can be from it's okay to walk around to if you're walking around, you better have some storm gear on. And even then, I used to walk around a lot. Lightning makes a believer out of you, man. If it doesn't, because even if you got a raincoat on or something, if you happen to be the best source of ground and you're walking around in a rainstorm, it don't necessarily have to come from the sky. It can come from the ground, and bam, you get to be a conductor, not in an orchestra either. Your screams might make the last orchestra sound because, man, people have survived lightning strikes, but I have relatives who have died from lightning strikes. So I also had a relative who was stuck in a transformer. He worked in, like the high voltage transformers. He was stuck in that. Furball things and stuff. It's really all little dogs have, man. Noise. I mean, they got nasty little needle teeth. They go through dental. See, everybody's walking their dog right now. There's another person out there with a dog. I'm just walking. I'm walking the dog. Walking these dogs right here. So that's a big dog back here. A big dog. That's all they say. The dog is bigger. His bark is bigger than his bite. That ain't always true. Yeah, this is the absolute best time. It's starting to climb up. Humidity's high, but I mean, we're going to have up to like 99 degrees today, which is 37.22 Celsius. And that's just the air temperature. I mean, you add in humidity, which it's been raining. All this is going to boil off right into the air, and man, is it going to be sticky. But the pool's open, so outside my window it's going to be a lot of noise. That's the way it goes. It's another reason why I don't feel quite as bad of not feeding all the cats and stuff, is because it'd be different if I had a big house, a ranch somewhere, and I had no neighbors for hundreds of miles or something, and cats showed up. Well, then either they're gonna fend for themselves or they're gonna starve. Not here. I mean, there's so many opportunities for a cat to find a meal, free usually. So if the wind sounds bad, I don't have the fuzzy mic thing. And it's really weird talking to yourself while walking. Other people are around. I just try to avoid, like, I give people their space, because I wouldn't want people just walking up on me and asking me questions. And I'm just filming. Do you mind being live on YouTube? You and your dog. Your little dog. And even though I'm messing around, it's not easy for me, because I don't know if one of my alternate voices might come out. How, who's going to greet him? Is it going to be Boris? Is it going to be Nigel? It's going to be Danny Dino? Sometimes that's not an easy choice. And you don't always have that choice, in my case. Because the characters that I use on these videos are very much alive and well inside my head 24 hours a day. And yeah, here comes that wind again. The clouds have changed now. The little balls down there are not as much, and the streaky parts are more. And then it's not quite as dark down there, but the wind's blowing from the west, and we're facing south right now. So there's a front moving through. Wind can change directions, and things can happen quickly. It was supposed to be sunny. Something like partially sunny right now. That's a stray dog. See, big stray dog. This dog you usually don't have to worry about, but you never know. It's like wolf size, you know. You walk up to wolf. Hey, I'm not your owner, alright? Not your owner. Alright. That's another thing you would have to worry about as a cat, is things like that. Random wolf patrol. And then you have other animals, you know, further up north you've got big old eagles, hawks and stuff. And that used to happen in New Mexico. People would have their little chihuahua, and they'd be living up in the mountains on the east side. One side is all dry and desert-like, and then the other side is all green and lush and piney and wet. And the wildlife is different. But, yeah. Little Sancho out there. It's not the real Sancho, but a little Chihuahua or something. Out on his porch. Look at all those mushrooms. Swoop right down on that and grab it up just like a rabbit. And they grab even bigger things, man. Some of them can grab small deer and stuff. So, yeah. Life is different on the outside for a cat, or a person, or anything else. But yeah, as far as like getting back to cutting edges and stuff, this particular queen canoe is in 440C, and again, it steels. I know what 440C is like. It's pretty good for me, because stainless steel is a relatively recent thing on the timeline of metallurgy and everything, you know. And there are advantages and disadvantages to everything, but I mean, if you're in a wet environment and you don't have ready access to oil and all this other stuff, it's nice to know that if you forget and you put your knife up wet, that the next day when you pull it out, you're like, I forgot to clean it off, instead of, oh crap, look at all this rust. If you leave it long enough too, you might not even be able to open the knife. So, and yeah, a lot of it has how frequently do you use it, how frequently do you look at it, stuff like that. But like I said, in a humid environment, carbon steel unprotected, it can go from being pristine to pretty bad pretty quick, less than 24 hours. At Ratco, they did a lot of parts annealing. They were making tubing and air conditioning tubing, you know, that fits semis and cars and stuff like it, hydraulic lines, all that other stuff. And all that stuff has to be bent, and to bend it, you want to anneal it, but when you anneal it, you take off all the surface finish and everything, and usually they had a parts cleaning machine, and right at the end was a bath of like oil and stuff, you know, because if you clean those parts and you left them out without rain going on or anything else, just humidity from inside the factory, you'd have a nice bunch of rust on your parts sitting there. And getting rid of rust usually means removing metal, and rust has already been trying to do that. So windy city. It's not windy. It's not Chicago. There's a breeze, though, which is not bad. And anyways, yeah, I'm going to cut this off early because I'm going to continue walking. And see, there's a kitty right there hiding his white face. See, they know how to survive. I once said in a comment that I thought that the best knife for Joe X to try to destroy is a crowbar. But I think he could do it because he used a 9mm and an AUG or a 5.56. Oh, I almost slipped right there. Not almost slipped, I did. You see that? It all depends if you got cat like reflexes or not. That right there can change your life. Normally I try to avoid that. I just walk and talk. I'm not watching one of those. But yeah, it's just like stepping on grease or oil. Like zoom, no traction. Well, you better hope your other foot had traction. And falls are the leading cause of death for a lot of old people, if not right away, the complications from it. Not much you can do about that. That's called old age. Parts. Your maintenance department has gone on strike. Internal maintenance. And we don't like the wages we've been getting, which is nothing. So we're going to stop repairing your bone density. What? Now you won't notice it. You'll be able to get by for a while. Take a fall. Which, how often does that happen? Gravity. So. See, I saw somebody up on a porch looking down at me. You got people getting in their cars. I'm just walking along, talking to my phone. But you kind of know it because I got it turned sideways instead of straight up and down. But if it doesn't get snagged from you, a phone can be a kind of defensive weapon because it records exactly what was going on. Not he said, she said. It's not. No, the phone said, this is what you did. That's why I wouldn't mind having like a little body cam. You can just walk around and it's not obvious you're filming. But you can record what's going on and talk. But yeah, I like to get exercise, but putting in 2 miles every day in Texas, you better judge the best time to do that 2 miles, because see, if I step right there, I'd slip. And you can have anti-skid soles and everything else. I dislocated my shoulder. In a factory, because they were all worried about cleanliness and we had oily parts, and idiots use water without any soap on a ramp. And I was walking by, and the same thing that happened out there in the parking lot happened on a ramp, and I was carrying a part in one hand, and when I slipped, I reached out with my right hand to grab that rail, and I did, but I still landed on my ass and dislocated my shoulder. I mean, it pulled it right out of the socket, and I went, oh crap, because I had just started work, and I didn't want to have to deal with that. Now, technically, that's an OSHA. That's a workplace accident, and if you're going to seek any medical attention, your best to go through that, but I decided, shut up, dog. I decided that I was going to go home because as I sat down, it pulled itself back into the socket. It relaxed. It was an odd feeling. And I know there's not much else you can do about that. You know, I sure as hell was not going to work the rest of the night. And no, I didn't want to deal with going to a doctor and all that crap. So I just went home. So I'm leaving. And I didn't report it. Because the environment I was working in, it wouldn't have done any good. It just made me stand out as a noisemaker and stuff like that. They would have made me pay for bringing it to the attention of anything. And yeah, I might have changed it and everything, but at that point I didn't care. Alright, so I think I've walked long enough. I'm gonna head back in. So yeah, that's just my thought about keeping it sharp. You can go crazy seeking that perfect sharp edge, and it's just transitory. No matter what edge you've got, if you use it, sooner or later it's going to get dull. And you got to be prepared for that. Know how to sharpen or buy a lot of box cutter blades.